What's going on YouTube? So when someone says minivan, oftentimes the first brand someone thinks of is Chrysler. This, of course, is the Pacifica, but it's not just any Pacifica. This is the fully loaded top dog Pinnacle trim. So we want to know, is this both the most practical and most luxurious family vehicle money can buy? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, like always, let's start things out under the hood. So as far as your specifications, there's two different powertrains. You have a traditional V6 and you also have a plug-in hybrid. We'll talk more about that later. In terms of this is a 3.6 liter V6 with 287 horsepower. It's paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission. You do have available all-wheel drive, and your combined fuel economy rating is 20 mpg.
Now, of course, we're going to be taking this out on the road for a test drive, and while we're on that test drive, we're going to see how quiet this luxury minivan is with our sound level reading. And after that, we're going to talk about pricing and two new elements we're integrating into our reviews: predicted resale value and reliability. So you'll certainly want to stay tuned for that.
But there's obviously going to be some special touches on the outside as well as the really luxurious cabin. So let's go ahead and get into that. Now, taking a look at the exterior design, the Pacifica actually has, more of a conventional look versus, I think, some of the other minivan rivals. And in terms of the Pinnacle, you do have a very nice look as well. Up in the front, we've got a premium fascia with kind of a rounded shape. We do have some chrome surrounding that. You have your chrome Chrysler emblem across the top there. And then your lower fascia is also going to be finished in that same gloss black kind of mesh. Now let's talk about lighting. We're going to have full LED lighting. It's actually standard across the entire lineup of Pacificas. So this is a projector LED for your low and high beam. Our turn signal is going to be incandescent, but we do have a daytime running light that's LED, as well as an LED fog lamp, again standard across the lineup. Now obviously, as we move around to the back, we continue to have that signature Pacifica look.
Yeah, a little bit more premium for the Pinnacle, but I'm going to have Drew go ahead and hop inside so we can see if all the taillight elements are LED. That's something we test out here in every Car Confections review. So we do have an LED brake light portion, LED turn signal indicator, and we also have an LED reverse light strip. So all three elements are LED with this Pacifica. I really like this taillight design. It's very premium looking. And then, of course, you have your Chrysler branding integrated there. We also have an exposed rear wiper. And then down here at the very bottom, all of this is going to be finished in mostly body color, besides for one little chrome piece, since we have the Pinnacle trim level. I would maybe have liked Chrysler to add exposed exhaust outlets, but that's not available on any version. And I do want to point out your tow rating comes in at 3,600 pounds if you choose the gasoline option. The hybrids are not recommended to tow.
Next up, let's talk wheels. You have several options starting at 17 inches and going up to 20-inch alloy wheels. This is the Pinnacle after all, so of course we have the nicest option. These are 20-inch contrast alloy wheels. I really love the way these look. They really make this van pop and look quite stylish overall. Now, in terms of our mirrors, we do have a nice satin silver finish on top of them. Blind spot monitoring and heating will be standard across the entire lineup, but this Pinnacle also includes the premium features of power folding and auto dimming.
Now here at the side of the Pacifica, we come in at an overall length of 204.3 inches long. And as far as some of the design elements, we do have a lot of chrome trim because we have the Pinnacle version. Now, we haven't mentioned this just yet, but there is an S appearance package that you can add to several different trim levels. Not the Pinnacle, but that kind of sports out your overall design. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, I'm very happy to tell you all 4 active safety features as standard equipment on the Pacifica lineup. That's pretty rare for a Stellantis product, so happy to see that included even on the base models. But guys, there is an incredibly luxurious cabin that we need to dive into, so let's do that. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
But now let's get to the inside. I know that's what you guys want to see. Take a quick look at the key fob first of all. We do have Chrysler key fob. It's a premium key fob, nice feel to it. Obviously you're going to have some additional buttons here for the standard remote start, and you also have the power side doors. And then getting inside the vehicle, just reach behind the handle, that's going to unlock the door. But check out this cabin. So as soon as you peek inside, you're going to know this is not your typical minivan. It's also not your typical Pacifica, because this Pinnacle is going to bring in some additional, very luxurious features. The most obvious thing you notice right from the start are your seats. So we're going to substitute out, cloth or leatherette seats and instead go for a full Napa leather. As you can see, beautiful seat design. We have this kind of quilted bolster that goes down through here. I love this. We also have the color contrast piping. And in terms of the color, you're probably wondering about that. This is a new color actually for 2024 model year. This is called Sepia, and it combines with the black to make a good contrast finish. Overall, just very soft and supple, super comfortable seat. In terms of adjustments down here, we are going to have a 12-way power adjusting seat with 4-way lumbar support, and many of the models are also going to have memory seats located right there. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And now let's look around at the rest of the cabin materials. Over here on the door trim, you've got the same kind of brown leather through here with the stitching detail. It is going to be a soft touch plastic with the stitching detail along the top through there. Moving to the upper dash, all this will be a soft touch plastic again with some more stitching details. And our lower panels are also going to be finished in a nice leatherette for your knee to rest against. You have Pinot Black through here. And I also want to point out that the roof is going to be finished fully in a luxurious suede. So very, very nice minivan cabin. Let's go ahead and fire it up with our push button start. Now that we've got everything fired up, let's get into the individual details of what you get with the cabin. So in terms of our gauge cluster, you're looking at a 7-inch multi-function display, and then you've got those basically classic Chrysler gauges with the kind of blue purplish backlighting there. Clean, classy look to that. We don't have a head-up display or anything like that, but we do have a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel on board. This is going to be manual tilt and telescoping, but of course it will be heated here on the Pinnacle trim. But as a minivan, we need to talk about interior storage because it's very, very important. So let's start out underneath our center console. So you'll notice it's loaded down with donuts. That's because this is Car Confections after all. We like to test out the donuts. And inside of here, we can fit quite a few donuts. I forgot the exact number. 15 donuts is what you can fit inside of there. So that is a pretty good result, but this is a more conventional style setup in terms of, not having a big gap down here. But we do have our 2 cup holders. Underneath of this lid, you have your wireless phone charging pad. You have a dozen or so USB connections right there. And there is a pass-through. It's going to be on the smaller side, but you can fit some additional things down there. Now, of course, what makes that up is the fact that we have a electronic shifter up here at the top, not taking up any space. It is, by the way, a rail metal, very nice finish to this. And when we go into reverse, the Pinnacle, of course, is going to come with a 360 camera. So that's what that's going to look like. You have that overhead view, you have active trajectory, you are going to be able to change the views through there, and also you have your front and rear parking sensors. Then behind that, you have your electronic parking brake as well. Now off to the side of that, actually very close to the shifter, we have our volume knob. And this is going to control several different audio systems across the lineup. Of course, the Pinnacle, though, is going to give you the top dog audio system. That is a 20-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. And let's go ahead and test that out right now. Wow, very impressive. A lot of times minivans can kind of skimp on the audio, but this one here really sounds like a luxury level, audio system. All right, let's take a look at our climate controls, which are below that. We have a 3-zone automatic setup. Chrysler does include all physical controls down here on the lower panel for most of your functions. If you need to get to anything additional, you can press the climate button inside the infotainment display, and that's where you can make some additional adjustments, including accessing your rear climate settings as well. Additionally, inside of this menu, or you can also access it up there at the top, this is where you can turn on your standard heated seats, or you can also turn on your ventilated seats so long as you choose the limited trim level or above. Now we're in the main screen here, so let's go ahead and talk about that. This is a 10.1-inch touchscreen. This is running the latest Uconnect 5.0 system. So that means you are going to have wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay abilities. Most models will also come with the built-in navigation system. That's what we have here, so you can take a quick look at that as well. And overall performance of this system is pretty snappy. Rising above here, we have an auto-dimming mirror. Most trims will get this. We also have HomeLink remotes built into the mirror, or visor, excuse me. And then up top here, this is where you're going to see our panoramic sunroof. So let me go ahead and slide back the shade here. This is going to come on the limited trim level and above. As you can see, it's a very large piece of glass, which is going to go all the way back to the second row headrest, and the front panel does open up.
All right, so before we even get back and talk about the rear, I do want to mention that you have a power door, standard on all versions of the Pacifica. If you choose the Pinnacle, you also have the hands-free abilities. But holy moly, we're sitting here in the Pinnacle Pacifica's rear seat, and I honestly feel like I'm kind of like in a little bit of a Rolls-Royce type of experience back here, because it is very nice. Now let's go ahead and dive into the space first, and then we'll dive into the features. So we are looking at about 39 inches of legroom, about 38 inches of headroom. Very good figures for a minivan. There's plenty of room for any type of kid to fit back here. I also want to point out your seats slide forward and back a very good distance, and they also recline a very good distance. So certainly a epic nap could take place in this seat. Now, you are noticing that these are captain's chairs. That's going to be standard on your higher end versions of the Pacifica, including this Pinnacle trim level. And as you can see, we have armrest here on the left side. We also have an armrest here on the other side as well. So you have armrests on both sides. Very comfortable captain's chair setup. Now you also have Chrysler's stow and go system. So you actually stow these seats fully into the floor to make a completely flat loading floor. Or you can also just use it for additional space. As you can see, I can just lift that up, and there's a lot more room down here. My foot's there for reference. Look how much room you have to store items that you don't want seen. So certainly very nice setup going on right there. Now, I also want to point out, if you choose a Limited or Pinnacle, you're going to get heated rear seats. The button for that is over here on the door trim. And then as far as other things to talk about, let's go ahead and dive into this. So here in the center, as you can see, we have a little bit of trash. That's because they've included a cool little trash bin right here. I think that's a very useful feature for families. And then if we fold this part out, look at how much storage we have. We have a ton of room, 2 cup holders inside of there. But we're not done yet, because as far as other features are concerned, your kids are going to have unlimited pillow fighting ability, because this Pinnacle gives you 2 pillows. So you can just beat the crap out of each other with these pillows here in the back. I can see this may be an issue if your kids are a little bit more feisty, but maybe if they're a little bit more old, they can take a really good nap with this pillow setup. Now, additionally, we have rear window sunshades to keep the sun out of our eyes. We have vents up top. Climate controls are going to be integrated over there on that part. Still not done yet, though. Take a deep breath. Here on the Pinnacle, we have the standard rear seat entertainment system. So as you can see, you can do quite a few different functions with this rear seat entertainment screen. It's integrated on both sides, and you also have a remote control. Additionally, you have a USB charging port, an HDMI port, and an aux jack. So we're really just full of functionalities here. You can also use this button to slide the front seat up and give you even more leg room. So really, with this Chrysler Pacifica second row, you're going to be basically fit for a king when it comes to this area. So let's go ahead and check out the third row. They've made it quite easy to get back here. You just find this little lever right here that's going to allow the seat to tilt up and out of the way. And let's go ahead and get into the third row. Excuse my ruler sticking out of my coat, but Oh my, this is a nice area. A little over 36 inches of legroom, 38 inches of headroom. Holy moly. This is where you're going to really get the benefit over something like a Jeep Grand Cherokee L in terms of space. There's just so much room back here, as you can see. With the seat slid all the way back, I still have 5 inches of additional knee room. I also have space for my feet up underneath the seat. The thigh support is absolutely incredible. I can just imagine melting the miles away here in the third row. We also have cup holders here on the right side, 2 USB ports, and we also have this button right here, which will allow us to tilt our seat forward and recline it all the way back. Oh my. So pretty awesome back here. We also have third row window sunshades, vents out of the ceiling. So overall, when it comes to this third row, I'm saying that this is fit for a king. Let's go ahead and check out the cargo area. Of course, we do have a hands-free power tailgate. And as far as the space is concerned, I'm going to go ahead and get those figures out of the way before I forget them. 33 cubic feet behind the second row of seats. If we fold the third row down, we're going to be sitting at a maximum of around 88 cubic feet. And then all the seats folded 140 cubic feet. So tons of room in this minivan. It is going to be quite a bit larger than stuff like a Toyota Sienna for reference. So very, very practical choice, that's for sure. Now, as far as the third row, you will notice these buttons over here on the right side. That's because we have the power folding third row here on the Pinnacle. It's also on the limited trim level. So as you can see, you actually have the option to do both seats, just the left or the right seat. I'm going to leave it on both, and then I'm going to go ahead and stow them. So as you can see, it's just a quick one press of the button, and the seats are going to go ahead and fold and completely flip back and stow on their own. 100% power, which is very, very impressive. That's something that, none of the other rivals like the Sienna offer. They will make you do that manually. And then, of course, you can fold the second row seats down flat as well. Now, I do have one thing to talk about. I previously said that you could store the seats in the floor. You can do that on most trim levels. However, keep in mind with the Pinnacle and the plug-in hybrids, you cannot store the seat fully under the floor. So do keep that in mind. If you're choosing the plug-in hybrids or this top Pinnacle model, you can't store the seats in that area specifically. Now we are Car Confections after all, so I went ahead and folded those second row seats down, and let's see how much room or how much cargo length there is behind the driver's seat adjusted to someone who's 5'8" in the rear. So we're sitting at 91 inches of overall cargo length. If we're looking at behind the second row of seats, we can actually lay that on the floor, and we're looking at around 58 inches of length. Let's see how wide the opening is. If I don't get caught in things. 49 inches as far as our opening is concerned. So very impressive when it comes to cargo capacity and the features that you're going to get in this Pinnacle version of the Pacifica. Alright guys, here we are behind the wheel of the most luxurious Chrysler Pacifica. In this test drive, we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our sound level reading to see how quiet this luxury minivan is. But first, we're going to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
Alright. And that was an acceleration up to 60 miles per hour with this Chrysler Pacifica. Now, like we were talking about at the spec dump, there's two different powertrains. Most people are, going with the classic powertrain, but we do also have a plug-in hybrid on board. We'll talk about that in a second. In terms of what this is, though, this is Chrysler's 3.6-liter Pentastar V6. They use this in a lot of products, and this application is making 287 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque, which are good power numbers for sure inside of this segment.
Yeah, and I think that acceleration there showed you just kind of how smooth and refined this V6 is. Especially when you look at other minivan rivals like the Toyota Sienna, for instance, where you have a 4-cylinder instead. This is going to have a lot more refinement for those of you looking for that.
Yeah, you certainly have plenty of power right off the line. It's a good torquey feel to the engine as well. Now, as far as the other aspect of the powertrain, that of course is our transmission. We've got a 9-speed automatic transmission on board. As you could probably tell, accelerating, this is a pretty smooth transmission. Seems to shift through the gears, like I said, nice and smoothly, pretty quickly as well. We're just in the standard drive mode right now. We might try out some other drive modes in a little bit, but I imagine most people are just gonna, be driving around in the normal mode for the most part with this van.
Yeah, and as far as how the power is routed to the ground, one of the unique things about this Pacifica is that it is not front-wheel drive exclusively. You can get front-wheel drive if you want it. However, there is an all-wheel drive option for you to choose. That's what we have on this particular tester today, so that's a big benefit over something like a Honda Odyssey, for instance. And then let's also just go ahead and dive into the plug-in hybrid and just talk about that really briefly. That's going to be the same 3.6-liter V6. We also have a 16 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack on board. That makes 260 total horsepower, so a little bit less than this gasoline option. However, when it comes to the range, that's going to be the really important thing for you to consider. 32 miles of all-electric range. So, when it comes to a minivan, you're going to be taking a lot of, trips with your family and, going around town to pick them up from school and those types of things. And 32 miles of electric range is certainly enough to really get you to most of those spots. So I think that's something worth considering. It's also worth considering that you may also qualify for the tax credit. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in the pricing section. If you choose the plug-in hybrid instead of the 9-speed automatic, you will have an ECVT, and it is going to be all-wheel drive exclusively. Now, as far as the fuel economy on the gasoline options, it's going to be coming in at 22 or 20 miles a gallon combined if you choose front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive respectively. And as you saw right there, that was the auto start-stop system. Overall, pretty smooth.
Yeah, it's not very disruptive at all. I don't think you'll be bothered by it, but like with pretty much all models with auto start-stop these days, you can defeat it if it's something that aggravates you.
Now, diving into ride quality. This is a minivan, so I don't want to delay this discussion. Holy moly, we have excellent ride quality. We've sampled out the Pacifica, we've sampled out all of this vehicle's competition, and really minivans are some of the best modes of transportation. If you want something very comfortable for long road trips, you're going to be very impressed here with the Pinnacle model. You get a few extra luxury touches that make you feel like you're in more of a luxurious experience than most minivans, but you still get the same awesome ride quality. So you're going to be very happy with that. It soaks up all the bumps and intrusions in the road, and the seats I do find to be very comfortable.
I will say that I do think that because it has larger wheels than most other versions of the Pacifica, that there's a little bit of degradation to the ride quality as compared to the standard one. The last Pacifica we reviewed was the Touring L, and that has 18-inch wheels, I believe.
Yeah.
So the tire is quite a bit thicker overall, and that one rides just a little bit better than this.
We're speeding up to 55 miles per hour to get our sound level reading. Let me go ahead and make sure the fan speed is on 1. The rear climate is already off. And let's see how quiet this luxury minivan is. We've settled at 60.6 decibels, going 55 miles per hour. And we don't have to sit here and guess how that compares to other minivans. We can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, and we posted all of our minivans as well as other vehicles you might be cross-shopping between, maybe a 3-row mid-size SUV, and you can see how this compares. And as far as how that compares to other minivans, that does mean that this is the loudest minivan that we've tested recently. As far as what I'm hearing entering into the cabin, I hear a little bit of road noise. I don't know if that's with this particular unit. Maybe it's just the Pinnacle trim level, but I am hearing quite a bit of noise intrusion from the road itself. All right, and let's do our airball and slam dunk for this Chrysler Pacifica. Drew, do you want to kick us off with our slam dunk, our favorite feature?
Yeah, the slam dunk is just going to be the luxury. I mean, they really dial up the luxury a lot with this Pinnacle trim level. This is a relatively new addition to the lineup, and it certainly does just give you that basically luxury vehicle experience inside of this Pacifica minivan.
Yeah, and as far as our airball is concerned, it will be that price. For the Pinnacle, you are going to have to pay a little bit more than other minivans. The Platinum Sienna is around $55,000, and this one's going to be an additional $5,000 at around $60,000. And as far as your warranty is concerned, you will be protected by Chrysler's typical warranty, 3-year 36,000 mile basic, 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain. But let's go ahead and talk about the pricing and resale and reliability data. And let's go ahead and talk about pricing. Now, all this luxury doesn't come cheap, and indeed this Pacifica Pinnacle all-wheel drive, $58,985 plus destination of $1,595, $60,580 as tested. You can see all the other Pacificas on the screen right now as far as pricing is concerned and plug-in hybrid offerings. One thing I do want to point out about the plug-in hybrid is that currently it is qualified for the full $7,500 tax incentive. So, keep that in mind. If you are able to qualify for the tax credit, it may be a better move to buy the plug-in hybrid and actually lowers your overall price. But guys, if you're looking to buy a Chrysler Pacifica or any new vehicle, we'd also encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, why you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealer negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we have a pinned comment at the top of this video. All right, guys, so now it's time to talk about the very important categories of predicted resale value and reliability. Now, first up, let's talk about resale value. Now, as an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this vehicle's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years, this Chrysler Pacifica will be worth 49.6% of its value, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 18.8% of its value. That means after 5 years, we estimate this vehicle to be worth around $29,000, and after 10 years, we estimate it to be around $10,000, which is about industry average when you factor in mainstream and luxury brands.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index, which takes into account a lot of trusted automotive sources for reliability data and, of course, combines them. Now, in this rating, Chrysler is going to be below average as compared to all other vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about how we calculate our resale value and reliability data, as well as our methodology, go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a car is a big decision, and you really want to make sure you're making a good one, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed watching this in-depth review of the fully loaded up 2024 Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you help us to make more car reviews like this. You really do play a very pivotal role in the amount of content that we're able to make. And if you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. You make this all possible. Thanks so much, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.